Hi there, YouTube. I went completely overboard on petunias. I have 8 different varieties of petunias for us to start. These are all pelleted seeds, so this will be super duper easy. It's just going to be surface sowing, just popping the little pellets on the surface of the soil. Petunias like really warm soil as well, so you may want to give them a heat mat if you have access to one. And they also love very high humidity in order to germinate. I also have a ton of herb seeds that I want to start as well, and I thought we would just go ahead and start these and chat, and I would throw up pictures and show you guys exactly what I'm going to be growing this season. So with that, let's start with the petunia seeds, and I'll tell you guys exactly what I'm growing. First, I'm growing the Tidal Wave Red Velour. I've grown this twice before, and they are super prolific. The Tidal Wave petunias are my absolute favorite wave petunias. They are super prolific. They get to be really, really big, and they are almost mounding as well. They look great in containers. They look great in the landscape. I just absolutely love Tidal Wave petunias, and the Red Velour is a really dark red. It's a very moody red. It almost has tinges of black to it. I really, really, really like it. Next up is the Tidal Wave Silver. This one is probably my favorite of all of the Tidal Wave petunias. So this is probably my absolute favorite petunia that I've ever grown from seed. It is a mostly white petunia that has a little bit of like dark purpley blackness almost to it in the center, but it's mostly a pure white bloom. And these things are so prolific. They smell heavenly, and hummingbird moths absolutely love them. One year I grew them, they were literally like everywhere. I had people stopping their cars in the streets, taking photos of all of the hummingbird moths, because truly I had never seen anything like it. There had to have been 100 I literally planted my entire house strip across from the elementary school with these, and literally there was just like a swarm of these hummingbird moths. It was the most beautiful thing ever. So if you like hummingbirds or hummingbird moths, try the Tidal Wave Silver because it's absolutely beautiful. One, it's the most prolific petunia I've ever used. It's also the most resilient petunia. So it's one that it can handle a bunch of rain. It can also handle wind and storms, and the next day it will look like nothing ever happened. It's just a really, really resilient, prolific, beautiful petunia that goes with any other color. Because it's a silvery white color, it just plays with almost any other color. This is my absolute favorite petunia. If I were to recommend anybody to grow just one petunia from seed, grow the Tidal Wave Silver petunia. Next up, I have the Hybrid Petunia Double Bonanza Floribunda mix. This is a mix of double petunias. I grew a petunia last year, pink pirouette, red pirouette, that was a very doubled petunia. It had mostly magenta with white around the edges. This is the entire series of those petunias, so this has some solid colored ones and some additional colors. It has pink, white, red, and bicolor petunias, I think. I grew the double petunias in my fountain urn, and they were really, really pretty, and I really want to grow just an entire planter full of double petunias. I think that that would be absolutely gorgeous. Next up, I have the Petunia Evening Sensation. This is a light blue, light purpley petunia, and it is supposed to smell heavenly. It's supposed to have a honey scent, and it was bred for its scent. That's why it's sensational. And so I'm really, really excited to try this because I don't have any experience with the Sensation line, and I'm really curious to see if these are actually as good smelling as they're supposed to be. I have the E3 Easy Wave Blue. I'm pretty sure this is like a dark purple color. I just wanted it to go with my mostly purpley colors that I have for my petunias, and I just thought that the dark one would add a little bit of punch. Easy Wave Plum Pudding Mix. This has like light purples and pinks and whites in it. It's just a mix of really pretty colors that I thought would also go well with that dark purple, and it would also go well with this Shockwave Purple Tie-Dye. The Shockwave petunias are just as prolific as the Tidal Wave petunias, but they have smaller blooms and just an overall smaller habit. And so I thought having a smaller bloom with the larger blooms mixed in would just make it almost sparkle. I did that last year with a planter that I grew in my garage, and it turned out absolutely gorgeous. It was honestly a planter where I threw just all the petunias that I grew from seed that year, just one of every single one in there, and it ended up being so pretty. Yeah, and I really like the different sizes of the blooms in it. So definitely want to grow some shockwave petunias to go along with my tidal wave petunias. And the last thing I have is the E3 Easy Way Lavender Sky Blue. And truly, I don't know why I purchased this, because the Sensation one is pretty much the same color as this one, I think. They're both like a light purpley color petunia. But I probably just purchased this one just because I don't know how prolific the Sensation one will be. I don't know if it's just going to smell really good but not give me a ton of blooms. So I know that my wave petunias are super prolific and perform for me every single time. So I probably purchased this just to have it as a backup, because I really want like light purples, dark purples, whites, pinks, and then I'll also have red, but the reds will be in a different area. That's gonna be my color palette for this year. I feel like last year I went for a lot more tropical and hot colors to kind of push myself out of my comfort zone. And this year I wanna go kind of a little bit more back to my comfort zone with some softer color palettes. I have a 10-20 tray here already filled up with my seed starting mix, which is basically just coconut core and a little bit of perlite mixed together. I'll add vermiculite to the top of the soil just to prohibit any algae growth. And yeah, that's basically what I use for my seed starting mix. Let's go ahead and start these petunias. And like I said, these are all pelleted seeds, so these will all just be surface sow, which is super simple. And as we do this, I thought we could just go ahead and chat. I'm just making sure all the cells are packed down. So as you guys know, or if you don't know, in a previous video, I let you guys know that I am supposed to be getting a new dog. I'm supposed to be getting a Giant Schnauzer, and I ordered it from a breeder, and the puppies were born in January, and I get to pick it up next week. And this weekend on Sunday, I get to go pick out the dog. These are what the pelleted seeds look like, by the way. Just little yellow dots. It makes it super easy to sow them because they're yellow and they show up against the soil really well. There should be 8 in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Exactly 8 seeds are in there. It's also so convenient that they came in this little test tube. Anyways, yeah, but I get to go to the farm to go pick which Schnauzer that I want, and I am 3rd pick out of 4, and she took a poll, the breeder took a poll asking everybody, you know, was anybody attached to any certain dog, or is there a certain gender that you want or anything? And there were 3 boys and 1 girl in this litter, and me and Matt really wanted a girl. Mainly only because they won't hike their leg. And as you guys know, we have boxwoods, we have arborvitaes, and once a dog pees on those things, there's really no recovering from that. It will have a brown spot for probably the rest of its life, or at least for a very long time, to the point where you'll basically want to just replace it. And I don't want to have to do that. Anyway, so I told her basically, you know, I would love a girl dog, but I know that that's probably not realistic because I'm 3rd pick and there are people ahead of me and there's only 1 girl. But honestly, all of them were so cute. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, there's not an ugly puppy in this litter. Every single puppy is so cute. They're so shiny. They're all black, and they're just like the most beautiful dogs ever. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm making sure I get my money's worth because these pelleted petunia seeds are not cheap at all. And you only get 8. But yeah, like I was saying, there's literally no ugly puppy in this bunch. There's no real runt. They're all about the same weight. They're all making all of their weight goals and developmental goals. They all have different personalities though, and they sent us little photos with bios of them. Like, one is like adventurous, one's like princess and leader of the pack, and like, oh my god, it was just so cute. And so we looked those over, and we really did like the girl because the girl was princess of the pack. And so I told them that, and they let me know that both of the people in front of me are really looking at boys. When I say first off, I was absolutely shocked because I just assumed if there's only one girl, somebody's gonna want the girl. But I should have known because I feel like people want giant schnauzers because they're big and they want as big of a dog as possible. And the male dogs are normally about 15 pounds bigger than the female dogs are. So maybe more people would want a male giant schnauzer than a female. I also know that people just have gender preferences with dogs when it comes to like a female dog having a heat cycle or a male dog humping. There's just certain things that people maybe had experience with growing up that informs what type of dog that they want. But I just thought I'd told myself, oh, you're never going to be able to get like the girl dog from this litter, and I really think we have a large possibility of being able to select the girl, and I'm so excited. So I'll know that this Sunday. I'll probably put a clip at the end of this video of going to the farm and picking out the dog. I'm really excited to go visit their farm because it's in Longmont, Colorado. It's called Boucher Family Farm. They breed giant schnauzers and hairless cats, which I have never touched a hairless cat before. I really want to like pet a hairless cat just to see how it feels because I don't know, there's just something about like the skin. I feel like it would feel weird. I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Seeds and Such is doing a great job on counting their seeds, and I love this packaging. I'm not gonna lie, like this is the way to package pelleted seeds, is put them in a little vial so that it's super easy to get them out. They also, when they sent pictures of all of the puppies, they had a basket of the most beautiful eggs ever because I guess they have chickens and like the eggs were all different colors, and I really want to buy a dozen eggs from them. So I'm hoping that they sell their eggs because I would love to just tack that onto the purchase because who wouldn't want like a beautiful bunch of eggs? And they could sit out on my counter because they're fresh. I've always thought that that was the neatest thing, that when people like have fresh eggs, you can just leave them out. You don't have to refrigerate them. So neat. And to me, fresh eggs look almost decorative because they're like all different colors. But yeah, I'm really excited to go to this farm, and I'm really excited to pick out my dog, and fingers crossed, put all the vibes out there that we get the girl so that it doesn't destroy our garden. Even though I know that a giant dog like that, they can do damage for more than just peeing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep. Every single time they've got it right on the nail. They must hand count this or something, you know? Like, how would you count a seed this small? Maybe there are machines that count like a pellet this small. I just feel like it would be really hard to find a machine that would grapple this little thing or spit out just this little seed. We have to start coming up with names for a dog, and now I really feel like I need to start thinking of girl names because there's a big possibility that we're gonna get the girl, and yeah. So this afternoon I'm really gonna start looking up names because I don't really know. I honestly had a couple names picked out, but they were mostly boy names because I just assumed I was gonna get a boy dog after they told us the genders that were available, but now I'm like, maybe not. Maybe I should start looking at those girl names. And I really want to have some picked out before this weekend just because a week's time to pick out a dog's name is like not very long. That's not very long at all. And it's so important. Like it's such an important thing because like literally you scream that name through your house. Like you want it to be something that you and your family like. No, this is the first one I'm short. I was short 1 seed on this one. This is 7. Just when I was like, no, they've never been short. They were on this one. It's fine though. Accidents do happen, I guess. Oh, these ones are white. They were the evening sensation. I guess every brand has a different little color that they like to use for their seed coatings. I actually think these white ones may show up even better on the soil than the yellow do. You wouldn't think so, but the white is so bright. And this last one is supposed to be 20 because this is the double mix. Let's see here. That was short 4 seeds. That was 16. So I was short 5 seeds, which in this type of situation is almost a full packet of seeds because there's 8 seeds in a packet, and each one of these I think is like $4 or $5. So that's $4 or $5 that I didn't get. A little disappointed, but it is what it is. So these seeds are sown. I will spray this with water and put this under a humidity dome. And if I have a heat mat available, I'll use a heat mat. If not, this will just go in my grow tent that's in here, because I do have a grow tent. It's a 2x2 grow tent in the back that tends to stay just a little bit warmer and a little bit more humid. That's probably where I'll put these so that I don't even have to cover them or anything. I just opened that up yesterday because we're running out of space in there already. I have one other grow tent set up in the room right outside of my office. It's a 4x4 foot grow tent, but once that's filled up, that's pretty much all of my space, except I do have a couple of bar style grow lights in my home theater around tables that surround my couch. So there's like just a couple of spaces to put some things once they're kind of grown up, but it does stay really, really cold in there. So I'm so glad to have all of my petunias done. Normally you wouldn't start petunias this early. I'm starting mine early because every single year I start mine early. Normally I start mine just a little bit earlier than this, but then I have like seedlings that are just like too much. It's like too much. So this year I'm starting around now, which is, Alexa, what's today?
Today is Wednesday, March 5th.
March 5th. So we're starting around March 5th in order for me to at least be able to take cuttings off of these one time and produce additional plants, because I like to double my plants because there's only 8 seeds per packet, and petunias, you know, you need a lot if you want to have like a really big effect. No onesie twosies over here. I honestly feel like I should keep these little test tubes in a container because I think they would be great for saving seeds. And next up we have herbs. I have Italian giant parsley, basil, cinnamon basil, which this is an amazing foliage flower for cut flower arrangements, and it has this like beautiful purpley bloom on it as well, so you can use it as foliage, you can use it for the blooms, and it has this beautiful cinnamon smell that just makes your flower arrangements special. Like anytime I gave a flower arrangement away with cinnamon basil, they asked me like, what is that smell? Because it has this like cinnamon clove-like aroma that is just irresistible. So if you haven't grown cinnamon basil before, try it out. I'm growing spicy glow basil because I love little glow basils. I feel like they look like little boxwoods. I got that from Linda Votter, not even gonna lie. I started growing the little boxwood basils last year, and they were so cute that I want to grow more of them this year and kind of do like a decorative little formation with them. I think that that could be super cute. This year is my first year growing lemon basil. I'm really excited about it because just like the cinnamon basil, I feel like it could add an extra dimension to my flower arrangements with aroma, and I've heard that lemon basil smells amazing, and I love the smell of lemon, so hopefully this does have a nice lemony smell. I have sage here. Honestly, I think I'm gonna take it out of my pocket or out of my stack of seeds to start, just because I do have sage in my garden and it is perennial. It's absolutely beautiful, but I don't think I need more of it. I don't really use sage in cooking. I need to figure out just what to use it in. It's just not a herb that we use really at all. Yeah, I don't think we use sage at all in anything. But I do have 2 plants of it, and it's the most beautiful blue-green color ever. I just don't think I need more of it because we don't even use it. I have German chamomile. This is an absolutely beautiful flower, and it does have a very pleasant chamomile smell. I have Italian oregano, and I also have Greek oregano. I know that I have oregano growing in my garden and that it is perennial. I'm not sure if the one that I have in my garden is Greek or Italian, and I want to try both of them just to see what the flavor difference is and see which one we actually like better. I'm assuming we'll probably be more familiar with the Italian basil just because it seems like we use basil mostly in Italian dishes when we're cooking, so that's probably the one that I'm looking for, but I want to try the Greek one because I have it. And then I also have Common Time, which is also a perennial that I have growing in my garden, but I want more of this because it just kind of creeps around. I have it growing by my downspout on the north side of my house. Absolutely beautiful. It just creeps, it blooms, these little white blooms, and it's almost evergreen. Like, it looks good all year round here. And I plan on starting my herbs in, I have a little soup container that I got from Hibachi Soup. And I have two little containers that I got from when we got takeout hibachi as well. And they have little clear lids. So I thought these will be perfect little seed starting trays. And we'll just sprinkle them as little flats of different crops in the thing. And yeah, that'll be our little seed starting containers. I need to grab my phone because I just want to make sure on this one, and there's one other one that I think doesn't have any information on seed sowing depth, and I just want to be absolutely sure that I'm sowing them correctly. The parsley, I want to say this is like 1/8 of an inch sowing, but I'm not exactly sure. And I just want to be sure before we sow it. Oh yeah, I didn't tell you guys. And Ella got fixed this weekend, or this week. She's recovering. She just had surgery yesterday. No, the day before yesterday. And yesterday she was so out of it from the anesthesia. She didn't really eat much or anything. Today she's kind of back to her normal self. She's eating, she's a little bit more alert. Luckily she hasn't been messing with the incision at all, which I'm kind of shocked about. I thought for sure we would have to use the little collar cone thing, but we haven't had to use it yet. How deep to sow parsley seeds? 1/4 of an inch deep. Okay. That's deeper than I thought it was. I'm glad that I looked it up. I'm sowing this pretty heavily because these seeds are probably 2 or 3 years old at this point. Does it say when it was packed? Yeah, 2022. So these seeds are 3 years old. So probably won't have 100% germination on them. And if I do, I can just thin them out. I feel like most of my herb seeds are a couple years old at this point. I purchased herb seeds all at once probably 3 years ago and truly have not had to purchase herb seeds since because the seed packets contained a lot of seeds in them. Yeah, that one's minimum 200 seeds. And these gold packets I have, these are like minimum, I think 2,000 seeds. Yeah, so it's like I'll probably will have cinnamon basil seeds for the rest of my life. Never have to purchase them again. Okay, so that was basil. Let's do cinnamon basil in this. Actually, I'm gonna do cinnamon basil in this little one. I don't need too much of that. I normally only do a couple of plants, and that's like plenty for cut flowers because they branch out and they're actually pretty prolific plants. So maybe in this tiny section we'll do Greek oregano. One cell tray done, and then we'll do the spicy glow basil in this section because I want a lot of it. I think it would be so cute to do almost like a boxwood formation of just glow basils. And all of those are ready for humidity domes and to go up into the grow room. I was gonna call it a day and just be like, okay, that's it for today's video, but I looked and I really feel like it's time for us to go ahead and pot up some coneflowers. If you guys can see, I have 1, 2, 3 rows of coneflowers, and out of 30 cells, I had 20 germinate. These were from seeds that were at least a year old. I purchased these from Guiding Green Thumbs. Guiding Green Thumbs is a fellow garden YouTuber, and she has a beautiful collection of coneflowers. And so she harvested seed from all of the different colors of coneflowers that she has and then sold them. And so I purchased a packet of those, and I've had them sitting in my freezer for an entire year. I grew a couple of them last year, but I cannot remember if I got to see any of them bloom last year. I feel like I started them really late in the season and I didn't really get to see any of the blooms from them, but I'm really excited because it's a rainbow of colors. So it'll be all different color coneflowers, and it was exciting to be able to support a fellow garden YouTuber, and these seeds are still good even after a year, so can't recommend them enough. But as you guys can see, we're starting to get our true leaves on some of these coneflowers, and if you look at the bottom of the cell tray, you can start to see some little white fuzzy roots poking out of those cells. So it's definitely time for us to go ahead and transplant those into a bigger container. And it sucks because these other 3 crops are not ready yet, which is why I gave you guys the tip. Try to start things that germinate around the same amount of days time in a cell together, because if not, you're gonna have to unpot some things before you are ready to unpot some other things. Then you have half of an empty cell tray, which what I'm gonna do is once we uppot these coneflowers, I'm gonna go ahead and sow some Nicotiana from seed that we saved last year. I purchased watercolor mix Nicotiana last year, and it was the most beautiful thing. I feel like it held my garden together throughout the entire season, and I really wanted to grow more of it, so I collected seed from all the different various colors of the mix, and so that's what we'll be growing this year. I don't think I'm going to do much talking. I just want to tackle all these little coneflower babies. Let's get to it. 25, 26 coneflowers. And a couple of these cells, as I was digging in there, there were sprouts that just hadn't made it to the surface yet. So I went ahead and added those. And then in a couple cells, I had 2 seeds in each cell. So 26 out of 30 cells germinated. That is amazing. With the rest of the soil, I'm just gonna go ahead and pack it back down in. And I'm gonna go ahead and refill this half with the very last of my seed starting mix until I have to make more. Here I have all of my saved Nicotiana seeds, or at least a nice portion of them. I think I have a second bag somewhere else, but I'll go ahead and sow these on this 3 rows that had coneflower, and I'll know that if anything big pops up in them, that's the coneflower. Nicotiana is just a surface sowing, so we'll just sprinkle the seeds on top of the surface. And still have seeds left over. Thank you guys so much for starting some seeds with me. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below. Let me know if you've ever grown petunias from seed, because truly it's the most rewarding thing, particularly if you've grown wave petunias from seed, because you truly get the performance that you would get buying expensive petunias from the store. Literally from these seeds, you get pretty much the same results for a fraction of the price. And I love that you can control what colors you get just a little bit more in your petunia selection when purchasing from seed, because I've just noticed that at the big box stores, their selection can get to be very limited some years. Like some years I can only find Supertunia Vista bubblegum, and I can't find any of the other Supertunia Vistas in like a Home Depot or a Lowe's or something like that, or at least in my area, they'll like only order a specific couple colors and that's all you can choose from. And truly, if you don't get in there at the right time, you're like selecting from people's pickovers at that point. I encourage you guys to grow some seeds for the gardening season, and I hope to see you guys around for whatever video I come up with for next time, because we have a lot more gardening to do. It's just getting started here. Bye guys. Y'all, the grow room is really starting to fill up. We have everything over here. We have roses up at the top. On this side, we have more geraniums and cuttings and stuff. More seedlings, shade perennials, onions, more seedlings. And now we have the grow tent back here set up. to where I now have the petunias in here. And as you guys can see, we still have a little bit of room left to fill up.
You're so cute. And you're Mr. Yellow, you're already taken. And Mr. Green.
We do puppy care.
He is. And you know, I never would have thought I would be like a hairless cat person, but I'm like, this cat's sweet. I like it.
All right, Bronson.